One of the most popular projects by the Royal Academy of Dance in recent years has been the Silver Swans programme. Who are the Silver Swans? They are people of 55 and over, sometimes a lot over, taking RAD ballet classes. Some of them had childhood lessons and are returning to ballet after decades away. Some are trying it for the first time in their lives. But they tell us about the benefits to their physical and emotional well-being. They tell us about friendship and community, and they tell us about joy. I'm David Jays, and this is Why Dance Matters, the Royal Academy of Dance podcast. It's about time we focused on Silver Swans, because for many people, it's a life-changing programme. Participants love the classes, they adore the music, and by jingo, they love their teachers. Today, we're meeting Rebecca Yates, an RAD teacher in northeast England who has developed a true community of Silver Swans in the coastal town of South Shields. She's someone who clearly loves what she does. But what, I wonder, are the charms and challenges of teaching people old enough to be your parents, even your grandparents? What's it like leading a class full of people who know their own mind and are happy to speak it? And how much has Rebecca herself been changed by taking this career path? Silver Swans are always ready to describe why dance matters to them. But why does it matter so much to Rebecca? Let's ask her. Rebecca, welcome to Why Dance Matters. It's wonderful to be speaking to you. And I am especially excited to hear about your work with the Silver Swans, the programme from the Royal Academy of Dance for older dancers. I understand your Silver Swans gave their very first public performance at the end of last year. That's quite a landmark.
Yes, they did do a showcase, a lot of classical ballet pieces and a little bit of ballet class on stage to about 250 people. It was a fantastic experience, and not just for them, but for me as well. It's so rewarding to see them do that and get the confidence to go on stage. And a lot of them have never been dancers, and a lot of them had never been on stage. So it was really quite a special event.
So for a lot of the dancers, that was their first public performance ever.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It took a lot of coaching to get them there. We do normal Silver Swans classes in a regular studio in a community hub, but also I try and give them a little bit of a taste of the theatre. So often I take their classes onto the stage. Nobody there in the audience, just so they can experience sort of running in and out the wings and doing a little bit of group work, maybe some ballet repertoire. So we've been doing that for a few years, and then I kind of broached the subject of a show, which at first was met with a resounding no. Yes, we'll do it as long as nobody comes to watch, was the first response, which I thought, well, that's not really going to work. But gradually sort of teaching them the dances, the different variations, and they got a little bit more confidence. No turned into yes. And I ended up with 24 brave souls who agreed to be on the stage in the show, and a number of women from the seated classes that I'd developed who came and demonstrated seated ballet on stage as well. So I had 30 performers altogether.
And what difference did it make to your dancers to take their performance from in the class, in the studio, onto a stage and to share it with people?
I think overall it's probably that feeling of self-belief. One of the things I found with my class and asking people and speaking to people how dancing has made them feel is that it's given them a little bit more self-confidence. I think as people age, you often find that you can't really do the same things, or there's not maybe as many opportunities open to you. And often people, I think, feel a little bit lost as to what they can achieve in later life. But I think having them do the show and realise, actually, I can get up there and do that, And for some people, they've always dreamed of being a ballet dancer, and it was a dream come true moment, if you like, for them. So for some people, it was a very special moment to be on the stage. And some people did it years ago when they were kids and they got to relive that. So it meant a lot of different things for people. But I think overall, it was that confidence and that self-belief of maybe I'm 66 and I can get on stage and perform and do 6 different dances in front of an audience. So yeah, definitely a confidence and a self-esteem point of view for me, I think, was very important. And I found that with the women who performed.
And how did your dance journey begin, Rebecca? Where did it start for you?
I think mine probably started like a typical little girl, started aged maybe about 6 or 7 at local school, Kathleen Burden School of Ballet, which is still running today, and just kind of progressed my way through the Royal Academy of Dance examination syllabus. And I just love ballet. I love the discipline. I love the steps. Miss Burden had so much knowledge. Very kind and gentle teacher. There was no shouting. So it was my kind of vibe. So I loved it very much. And then I went through all of the exams. And I think as a teenager, I went to audition for a couple of vocational schools. And I think looking back now, I didn't have the confidence or maybe the maturity at the time to do well in those auditions. And I didn't get a place. And I think at the time, I think it really crushed me because like most girls, at that age, you want to just be a ballerina, you want to go on stage, you want to perform, you want a career in dance. And I think I lost a bit of love for ballet around that time. I kind of went from going to lessons every day, all day Saturday, to kind of dropping out a little bit. I went off and did a degree in psychology and eventually realised that I needed ballet back in my life. So I came back to it, came back to Kathleen Burden's ballet school and started helping out with classes. And then I realised actually I quite like this teaching aspect where I can maybe pass on some of the knowledge that I have got over the years to other people and get to watch them learn and experience dance. And that's when I decided to take up the course of the Certificate in Ballet Teaching Studies with the RAD. And I did that in 2012.
What was it that you missed when you stepped away from ballet? What was it that was lacking?
I think I missed the friends. You do build those bonds with people. So I think a lot of it was the company, but also just the music, the movement, the way dance makes you feel. It takes you to a place where you can move away from everything else that's going on around you and just gives you a little bit of a special moment where you can just express yourself without having to worry about the world outside. So I kind of missed that. I needed some ballet back in my life. I needed the beauty of ballet, should we say, back in my life.
And that's interesting that you mention all those things because it seems to be that your ethos of teaching is very much about dance and ballet being fully integrated into your life, not just in class, also out of class, also in your community and your friendship group. And it's lovely that your school is called Complete Ballet because it's not just about what happens in class. It's about how that radiates into your whole life.
Definitely, yes. The social side of the ballet classes, particularly the Silver Swans, is very important to me. A lot of people are quite isolated, obviously, in later years. And I just think it's a nice way to bring people together who share a passion for ballet, who maybe didn't even realise they had a passion for dance until they started it. And they can get together, and we've had theatre trips. We always meet for a cup of tea after class. People meet new connections, meet new friends. We've had a road trip down to London to come and see the Royal Ballet perform at Sleeping Beauty. So that was fantastic. Quite a challenge to coordinate 23 people on the train and get them into accommodation and everything sorted. But it was, again, dream come true for a lot of people. The social side is definitely very important. And I always try and keep it that it's more than a ballet class. If you come along to lessons, you're making friends, you're improving your health and everything else, the positive benefits that go with dancing and just keeping fit. But it's more that social side for me.
And I love the range of classes and events that you hold at the school, because there are classes with live music where a pianist comes in. As you said, there are chances to do class on stage and just have that bit of atmosphere. I love the idea of the swans and cygnets where people can bring in their grandchildren or little nephews and nieces. Why is all of that important to you, that kind of range of activity?
I think my love is ballet. I think I've got memories of trying tap when I was younger and not being very good at it. And I've tried salsa when I was a bit older and can't move. So I think it's just ballet all the way for me. Dance is so much broader than that. So I try and bring a little bit of the history in. So we also do lessons in national dance. So a lot of my Silver Swans come along to those classes as well as syllabus work. And the swans and the cygnets, bringing sort of grandchildren and nieces and nephews to class is absolutely wonderful. It's just that intergenerational thing. I think it's that the feeling really, isn't it, that you get when you dance, but then in different situations. So that feeling changes when you maybe go on stage in front of an audience or where you're dancing with your great-grandchild, for example. The feelings connected with dance in those different settings that I think are quite unique and quite important to me.
And you obviously do a lot of teaching of little ones, as you started yourself. But what's different about Silver Swans? Because they are 55 and above, as you say. Some might have danced when they were young, others coming to it for the very first time. It must be a different approach.
It is. I really like the challenge. I think I had always taught children since I qualified, and I worked as a freelance dance teacher. I taught at Kathleen Burden's school, done a practical teaching supervisor role as well with the RAD. So I've always been involved in the children's side of it, and then saw the Silver Swans licensee course with Sarah Platt in 2019 and thought, well, I've done all the training I can possibly do with kids. I'll go along and see what this is about with adults. So first experience of it all. And it felt like a light bulb moment because it was an opportunity to really make ballet inclusive, which at the time I'd only really experienced teaching children and bringing children through exams, that kind of thing. So this was a way of actually including more people in dance, maybe people who had health conditions, mobility problems, being able to actually adapt a ballet piece of repertoire, say, so that anyone could take part, even if they were maybe sitting down. It's very challenging, but I like that extra side to it where I'd really have to think. It kind of kept me on my toes a bit more. As many dance teachers know, I think once you've taught grade syllabus for years and years, you need something to kind of refresh it for you. And I think this was just a totally different way of approaching dance and being able to adapt it for other people and maybe get people involved who have never danced before, but at an older age. It's amazing. Yes, I loved it.
And you really have to rethink everything you do because you say people are just in bodies that are getting older as well as having particular health conditions. So you can't assume that everyone can do everything and they're just being lazy if they're not doing it.
Yeah.
I guess you just have to rethink absolutely everything you're trying to teach.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I mean, it's when I started teaching Silver Swans, I had maybe 4 or 5 people in the class. I invited I dragged my mother along to come and make up the numbers. So it was a very small class, and I slowly got to understand how people's health and their conditions affected the way they moved. So what was always easy for me, certain steps obviously became a problem for other people, and it gave me an understanding of so many different health problems and medical conditions, but also how to adapt things so they could still do the step the way the Royal Ballet does it, as I explain in class, but they can just adapt it slightly so their arm might be slightly lower, or they might want to lose that ballet turnout and bring the feet together in parallel and do it that way. So they're still working the same way. They still feel like they're doing the same step as everybody else. It's just the technique is slightly different. But I think because I've got such a good relationship with all of my Silver Swans, I really know them. I spend that time with them, going for cups of tea. They message me when they've got things going on in their life. I'm interested in them. And I think I have an understanding of what I need to do to that particular person to help them take part in class. And I love that side of it. But it is getting harder because I think I'm up to 111 swans now, which is amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I'm trying to keep on top of it all. But yeah, I just love that idea that you can offer just a couple of suggestions in class that might then help someone to continue where they don't have to give up dance. And the seated classes in particular, which came about because of lockdown, And where nobody had any room to move in the house, we kind of brought the steps down into a smaller area and maybe did them seated and see how that worked out. And it was so popular, people asked me to keep it running, and we do that. Opened the door to a number of people who, some are just my sort of regular Silver Swans who like to come and do it as a bit of extra workout, they call it, do it seated on the chair. But it has opened the door to people who maybe got more serious mobility problems where they need to dance sit it down. So again, that's fantastic that even maybe you can't do standing class anymore, you don't have to give up dance. You can still then do it taking part seated in a chair. So it's endless. I feel like hopefully it's endless, and you can always have dance in your life.
And we quite often speak to people on the podcast who came to dance through a parent who was a dance teacher. And that's an interesting relationship. I hadn't thought about it the other way round, though, where you're the teacher and your mum is in the class.
Yes.
What's that like?
Well, she loves it, obviously, now. Otherwise, I would have let her go. But, she comes of her own free will now, which is fab. But it's lovely, and it's quite a special thing because she's always supported me. Both my parents have always supported me throughout all my dancing. They paid for courses and auditions and my point shoes, and they really supported me to be a dancer, and they've always supported me as I've trained to be a teacher. And it's not always easy juggling everything, so they've been a massive support. So it's really nice to give that back. And yeah, it's very different to have somebody who used to sit and watch you in dance classes to then now you're watching them. But it's a very special thing. And I've got people in the class who teaches a Silver Swan, and their mother comes on the seated class. So I get to teach her. And then I also used to teach the Silver Swan's daughter when I worked at Kathleen Burden School. So I've got sort of 3 generations there in front of me. So it's quite a special thing. And it's very rewarding, but a very different take being the teacher to your mother. Yes.
And actually teaching people who are old enough to be your parents must be, and possibly grandparents in some cases, who know their own mind, they're mature adults. I guess, again, that's a different challenge.
It is, yes. I do have quite a few characters in the class, but I love that. I just love the variation. You know, I've got people who want to come in their tiaras and their full ballet gear, and then people who are a little bit more reserved. It's just such a friendly atmosphere. I can't honestly say that it's cliquey at all. And when we have new people join, they're the first people to go over and welcome people into the class. And I've experienced that throughout the class, whatever venue I teach at. It's always got that lovely feel to it. And I really enjoy being around the people that come to classes as well. So for me, it's not just that relationship where you teach them and they go home like it would be with a young student. You have that extra little bond with them. You know what's going on in their life. You know how they tick. And I think working with a group for the show as well, we had a small group of people with amazing skills, which I found out. One lady used to be a stage manager. One lady is an actress. Few people can actually sew and make amazing clothes and costumes. So they were kind of pulled together. That was my A team. And they were pulled together to help me build the show. And they designed the costumes and did all of those and helped me with the stage advice. It was not something I'd ever done before, being on that side of it. And they were just absolutely brilliant. So I found ways of getting everybody together, and despite all the different personalities, everybody just seemed to support each other. I think everybody's, particularly for the show and maybe in Silver Swans classes, is just working towards one goal, which is just to dance. And I think it's got that atmosphere where people support each other to do something. So if someone goes and sits out, someone will go over and ask if they're all right and they're just taking a break. It's just got a lovely feel to it. But I think that's maybe it, that people are supporting each other to just continue dancing.
We don't always talk about this aspect of teaching, but you're running a business. It's about the joy of ballet and sharing that with people, but it is also about finance and admin, and in particularly at the moment in a cost of living crisis, it can't be an easy thing. How easily does that side of running the school come to you?
It's very busy. It's very, very busy. If I'm not actually teaching, I'm probably doing some sort of planning or messaging or newsletter in the background. So it does keep me very busy. fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how much time I have, I do have a part-time job as well. So away from the dancing, I have a very desk-based job in policy. So I have that which I guess has been a saviour in a way, because I've had that income to kind of cover things that I need for the house and bills and all of that. It's made sure I can run the classes, the Silver Swans classes, in the way that I'd like to run them. I can offer a little bit more. And I think that's the reason mainly why last year I decided to change my business from being a sole trader into a community interest company, because that side of it is very much about social values, and that what you do is for the community. It's not to make a profit. So because I'm in that fortunate position where I can do this as an add-on, if you like, I can invest that money and I can keep running the Silver Swans classes, but the focus is very much on the people attending it and to keep those going, rather than a business head, if you like. So it is a business, but I don't really see it that way. I see it more as a community investment side of it.
And how much do you feel that you have created a community through the classes?
I get told I have.
So, well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm going off people's feedback. But yeah, I've done surveys and things. People have spoken, especially since the show. We've had a lot of interest in what we've done. So we've been on the radio, we've been on the local news, which has been fantastic. Quite an exciting experience being filmed in the dance studio. So a lot of people enjoyed that. So from what I know of the Silver Swans, when they've been interviewed for TV and radio and all of the various news articles and things we've been involved in since the show, I know how much it's meant to them. Friendships and that chance to meet new connections has always come up as a big part of it for them. And a lot of people come to quite a few classes a week, but often it's just to meet their friends and come and dance with people that they've got a connection with. So yeah, I definitely think there is a community, and I'm hoping that it'll continue to grow. There's got to be more people, I think, certainly in South Tyneside, I can get along to ballet, because it's just so rewarding and it's such a nice atmosphere. I just feel like the more people who can do it, the better, really. It's got so many benefits.
You've got 111 people, Rebecca. You're going to need a bigger theatre.
I am. Yeah, I think that would be the goal. I'm at various places across South Tyneside at the moment. And obviously those different communities reach different people. So I don't know that's something I would ever give up. I think Silver Swans works in a bit of a different way to teaching younger students and children, in that they just travel to one place. But I think when you do a Silver Swans class, you tend to need somewhere that is obviously easier to get to, maybe has a little cafe next door that you can go and have a cup of tea, better facilities, lifts, good lighting, that kind of thing. But ultimately, I would love to find a place that is big enough to bring more Silver Swans together, which has those facilities in South Tyneside. So that's maybe the goal, sort of 3 to 5 years it's on my list, my project list.
The Royal Academy of Dance is very proud of you as one of its members and teachers, and the way in which you've really spearheaded the work of the Silver Swans. But what does being a member of the RAD mean to you?
Well, the RAD, I mean, I've been connected to the RAD, I suppose, since I took my first primary exam. So we're going back quite a little while. But I think for me, the RAD, it's the standard of the training and the standard of teaching and the way it supports its teachers to be the best, I think, that I really love. The syllabus work is so good. Even with the adults doing it now, there are adaptations you can make so that adults can take an exam. And I've got 18 wanting to take an exam this year, which is brilliant. Yeah, so I had 5 last time who took their grade 3 class award, and now they've inspired others in the class, and I've now got 18 coming forward to do grade 3 and 4. So that is another thing keeping me busy at the minute. But it's brilliant, and I love the way the RAD is trying to be a little bit more inclusive. Back in the day, I feel like training, years ago was very much for children and for potential careers in dance, whereas now it's got that inclusive vibe. And the Silver Swans is just so important. I'm so glad I went on that training, and it sparked something in me to deliver that teaching in a way that made it more inclusive. And it's the standard I think you don't maybe get, or I certainly haven't seen with any other dance organisations, the standard of teaching and the training and the syllabus work. History as well, it's steeped in history.
It is. It is. Have you seen ballet change your students as people?
Yeah, I think going back to that confidence thing, not just the physical side of it. I often get people when they start, their balance is horrific. That's usually the biggest thing. And they'll say, I cannot balance at all. And they can't. And over maybe 4 or 5 weeks, it's brilliant. And the change in that, I can physically see changes. So I've had a lady who started maybe a couple of weeks ago, came in with a walking stick, and she's not using it now. And that's obviously, like, those are brilliant stories, and it's not going to be for everybody, but it does do something brilliant for your strength, your balance, your coordination. So from the physical side of it, I've actually seen that, but from a well-being point of view and people's positivity, I can see change, and that confidence as well. People who maybe were hiding at the back in class before have come to the front, and people who said they would never do a show before have been on the front in the stage. So I've seen that definite shift, but I do think it's a bit of a self-esteem thing. And yeah, I think it's been wonderful to give people that confidence that they can do anything really, and especially dance, but they can do anything they put their mind to it, and age shouldn't be a barrier.
Because even today, older people, especially older women, can be ignored, can be invisible in society. So that, to come full circle, that sense of stepping out on stage and giving a performance and taking that space, there's something really valuable in that as well, I think.
Definitely. And one of my Silver Swans actually used that word, that they were invisible. Because they were older, you just kind of disappear out of society. You don't work anymore, so you maybe don't have those contacts. It can be a very lonely place to be. And I do think dance, and certainly the show, has given people a way to be noticed a little bit. And I think for other people to appreciate what they can do, the response from the show was just fantastic. And I think it inspired a lot of people to think that they could maybe do something like that. And I have obviously had people join because of that, because of the press, and because they've been to see people dance on stage so beautifully and prove that you don't have to stop just because you get older. But it has just, certainly in terms of reducing isolation as well, given people just new friendships and new connections and support for each other as well.
And what has it given you, Rebecca? I mean, it's obviously done huge amounts for all the people in the classes, but how has it changed you being involved in this work?
It's very different to teaching children. Sometimes it can be just as challenging, but it's very different. It's a different kind of rewarding feeling. It's not a mindset I ever thought that would change with me. I was always a very technical teacher, so I enjoyed the challenge of trying to help younger students achieve a particular movement and get it exactly right as it should be. I enjoyed that. I loved the examination syllabus. So I've had to shift my own mindset into teaching older adults who I would never push to get there, because obviously they've got things going on and you have to take a lot more care with that. So I just feel like watching them achieve what I know they can achieve, even if that looks a little bit different to the Royal Ballet standard, is okay. And that's quite rewarding for me to see them achieve that, and to see them work together and learn a piece together, even if it goes a little bit wrong in the middle. It's that feeling that they get from completing a quick 2-minute routine and doing it all together. It's just a different experience. And certainly with the show, I was kind of stood on the sidelines in the wings and watching them all, and a couple of bits went wrong, but that wasn't the focus of it. And I was just genuinely very proud that, they had the guts to go ahead and do that, but also I could see them just enjoy themselves. And really, that's quite a rewarding thing, I think, especially with children. Every class you get children who've maybe been told to go to ballet by their parents and they don't really want to be there. And then you've got children who obviously want to work hard and maybe want to work towards a career. But I just think when you teach adults, and certainly older adults, they're doing it because they've got a love of dance and they want to express themselves a bit more without that kind of pressure. And you can see that. And the fact that I've helped them feel like that is just a very rewarding experience. It's a very humbling job. And I get lots of nice messages from my swans and lovely little Christmas presents and little notes. And it's a perk of the job, but I'm in a very privileged position to be able to make people feel like that through dance, I guess, and through my teaching. So it's a wonderful position to be in.
Here we go, Rebecca. It is the final question. Why does dance matter to you?
I think if you'd asked me that when I was in my prime as a young dance student, I think I would have had a very different answer. I think then I lived and breathed ballet, wanted a career in it. Yeah, I had a focus. But I think now as a Silver Swans teacher, I've got a very different understanding of it. And I think it matters to me now because I see that it matters to other people. I see that it matters to the adults I teach. It's improved their health, their well-being, their balance, their coordination, their confidence. But it's just given them a space to enjoy new friendships and just make new connections and experience the steps and the history of ballet. It's all in one place. And I love that inclusive side of it. So I think that's really why it started to matter to me more now, is because it so clearly matters to the people I teach and they get to experience all the wonders of ballet and dance and enjoy it and meet new people at the same time, and where age isn't a barrier as well as a big thing. So yeah, it matters because it matters to them.
You've got to be a confident teacher to marshal a room full of strong-minded women. And Rebecca's conversation was a hymn to job satisfaction. If you go to our show notes, you'll find out more about the Silver Swans and how to find a teacher local to you. It's an international programme, growing all the time. Whatever age you are, do tell us stories of your own inspirational teachers. We love hearing them. And you'll find details of the RAD's social media in our show notes. We're always chuffed too when anyone subscribes or likes the podcast, so that we can find other people who might enjoy Why Dance Matters. Our guest today was Rebecca Yates. Why Dance Matters is made by the RAD team of Niamh Carey-Furness, Keisha Dodd and Katie Hagan. Our artwork is by Bex Glendinning, and Sarah Miles is our strong-minded producer. I'm David Jays. Take care and see you soon.